Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It is the Early Line. It's time to rise and grind on a Tuesday morning post-championship Monday night. And we got you for 2 hours to set the table on everything you need to know about what happened last night and how it pertains to the future. And also get you caught up on what's going to take place this Sunday between AFC and NFC championship games. Coaches were signed in the middle of the night, but the big story of the day, which we're going to get to in just a few moments, the Indiana Hoosiers, champions of college football. Just even 3 years ago, you would have thought that's been ridiculous here. Undefeated, untied, unbeaten champions now, Joe. We're going to talk about that all and more today on the Early Line. I'm excited, man. Like this is a good show here. Indiana champions? My goodness, man.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on that. But we also have a whole lot of vacancies filled yesterday. A lot of craziness in the NFL as well on for a Monday. So a lot to go over, Donnie.
A lot to go over here, and if you were up late last night when that game was supposed to start at 7:30, we started closer to 8 o'clock, you need some caffeine. So Joe's going to bring that to you with the hot topic of the day right here on a Tuesday on the Grid.
Yeah, well, count me as somebody who needs some caffeine because I was up there, Donnie, and we just witnessed the impossible. The Indiana Hoosiers, yes, the once great basketball school, as well as the historically losingest program in college football history, are your national champions. A 16-0 season. Perfection. I think we also need to stop debating it right now. Curt Cignetti is without a doubt the best coach on the planet in football. Or should I say Curt Cignetti right now? Because in just his second season, he took a roster of 24-year-old transfers, Donnie, and 2- and 3-star recruits, not only beat Oregon twice, took down Ohio State, took down Alabama, and now took down Miami to win it all. This is the miracle on ice of college football. This is also a movie waiting to happen. And look, as a Miami Hurricanes fan, I'm hurting this morning along with Donnie and many others, and my Canes gave them everything they could handle last night at Hard Rock Stadium. But every time Indiana tried to pull away, whether it was a blocked punt or that gutsy 4th and 5 call, Miami answered. And we had the ball with a chance to win it at the end, but we fell just short, Donnie. 27-21. But I have to tip my cap to the tens of thousands of Hoosier fans who descended and took over Miami Hard Rock Stadium last night. Listen, enjoy this. You pulled off the greatest rags to riches story in sports history. And let me be clear, the U is also back. And college football is better when Miami is terrifying. And I think they proved that again last night. But I'm also a sports bettor, Donnie, first. I'm a fan second. So I'll leave you with this lesson. Indiana is the champion. They get the trophy. They get the confetti. But Hoosier fans, always remember the golden rule of sports betting. Good teams win, but great teams cover. And cover the spread the Miami Hurricanes did. So enjoy it, Indiana, because you earned it.
That is. And also, as Joe talks about the 7.5 to 8.5 or even 7s that you got closer to game time yesterday, that one, Joe told you, you know what? Maybe a little bit slow start yesterday. Take that under in the first half, 10 total points. Cash that in. Great second half. I want to see what the ratings are for this football game because it gave you everything you wanted in the second half. The best player in the sport, Fernando Mendoza, 4th and 5, and that 4th and 5 at the end of the game to jump into the end zone to take the lead by double digits, spectacular. You had to stop to end the game with a legitimate threat for Miami to win that game outright, just like they did from Ole Miss. Just weren't able to get it done. Great stuff here. So let's get into the early lineup, the hottest topics across the sports landscape right here on a Tuesday. And that deals with last night's Indiana Hoosiers, national champions, 16-0, 27-21 over the Miami Hurricanes. Beck threw for 232. Mark Fletcher Jr. ran for 112 yards. Malachi Tony, 122 yards receiving, and they lost. You make the biggest plays in the biggest moments. Indiana did that, Joe.
And that's what Heisman Trophy winners do, right? And that's exactly what he did. You know, it was a perfect fitting situation there for Indiana with the best player in college football making that biggest play at the biggest moment in the game. And there were a few of those, Donnie. There were a couple of big moments in that game that had they gone the other way, we'd be having a different conversation here. But that's what champions do. They make the plays when it matters the most.
Absolutely. And champions win championships. The Buffalo Bills, they haven't even played for a championship in the Super Bowl for quite some time since the 1990s. But they fired their head coach, Sean McDermott, which I thought was a surprise. But you know what the other surprise was? Not only did Brandon Beane, the general manager, survive, he actually got promoted. And if you saw anything on social media yesterday, it feels like the Buffalo Bills did that backwards yesterday. Should have fired the general manager and kept the head coach for me.
Yeah, it's very strange. And I know a lot of the players apparently were taken by surprise here. I mean, listen, it feels like he's been on a perpetual hot seat forever. But it's the timing of this is very strange, Donnie, because you're in the midst of a ridiculous amount of openings and there's only a handful of head coaches. So unless that new head coach is already in the building, I'm not sure what they're doing here.
Yeah, like, hey, promote Joe Brady. Like, he's the offensive coordinator. Like, McDermott doesn't call any of those plays, but somehow Brady as the head coach would get a better turnout for the team. I don't buy it at this point. And, Joe, you've been right all along. Be careful what you wish for sometimes. And sometimes it does work out. You have a really good coach, 10 coaches up for grabs. So, again, you go to another coordinator who might be able to get you over the top when you have a team that's possibly ready to win a Super Bowl, but you're a wide receiver short. Ridiculous. The Tennessee Titans overnight, they made their decision. Robert Saleh, no surprise that he's a head coach again. Did unbelievable things with a banged-up defense for the San Francisco 49ers. He finds himself as the man in Tennessee.
Listen, as a Jets guy, I could not be happier for Robert Saleh because he got a raw deal in New York, but he also learned some valuable lessons. And, I hope he takes those lessons to this head coaching job in Tennessee and wins a whole lot of games because that's a good football coach right there. And they got a good one, I think, in Tennessee.
Worst kept secret in the business here, Joe. The Miami Dolphins going to hire a head coach. Hey, no surprise, it comes from Green Bay. Why? The director of player personnel from Green Bay was hired as the general manager for the Miami Dolphins. And Hafley, now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. They go defense.
Well, listen, one of the big coordinators that were at the top of the list and, for a job. And certainly there are plenty enough openings. But, yeah, that was a match made in heaven. I think we all knew that the minute the GM was hired in Miami and where he came from and the history here. But there's a lot of rebuilding that's going to be need to take place in Miami. And the first thing they're going to have to figure out is that quarterback position.
Exactly. How about J.K. Dobbins? His practice window opens up there for the Denver Broncos. When your quarterback goes down, you better ramp that running game up. And maybe J.K. Dobbins can come back just in time for that, Joe.
Well, listen, it's all hands on deck, right? So this is that's good news for Bronco fans here if he can get back out on the field.
All-Star game starters. As I look at the list here, the West, the East, don't see LeBron James there as an NBA starter in the All-Star game. Luka Doncic, by the way, 3.4 million votes. He was the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, well, you also won't see Jimmy Butler there apparently as well, as he tore his ACL last night against the Miami Heat, ironically enough. So, yeah, but again, I have no idea what the format is for this game, so who cares who's playing in it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're so right about that. Shouldn't we have more like it's East versus West, but the All-Star game actually isn't East versus West, and there's going to be a whole nother team, but yet they're not starters, but we have, yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. You know what else doesn't make any sense? And this is why we have the All-Star game in the NBA. It's not a legitimate product here. It is an exhibition. Two NBA players voted Bronny James to be an all-star starter. They don't take it seriously. They don't care about the All-Star game. They've been telling us that for just about a decade now, Joe.
Yeah, that says everything that you need to know right there. You're voting for nepotism. That's what you're voting for. So Bronny can play in an all-star game with his father, and you can say you did. Yeah. I mean, that tells you the state of the NBA and the all-star game. So, yeah, kudos. Should be fantastic.
Wholesome moment, as Dove Kleiman would probably say with a tweet coming out a little bit later today. Bronny gets to play with his father in an all-star game. But by the way, the all-star game, whatever happened, Joe, East versus West, play a good pickup game, we all go home happy. We can't have nice things anymore. But you know we can have? Spreadlines coming up next. Let's get down to business. We'll be right back.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping Ja Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for Ja Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Let's get to some of those Tuesday spread lines right here on the early line. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. And boy, we had a big game last night. National champions, the Indiana Hoosiers. In the NFL, we're whittling it down now to the final four teams who are looking to be a champion in the NFL. First spread line, we'll take a look at New England and Denver. This line, Joe, opened up 4.5, went to 5.5. Yesterday, while we were doing the show, minus 4.5 it dipped back to. Today, Joe, back to 5.5. Stidham's going to be your starting quarterback here for the Denver Broncos in a total of 41.5. Early week spread line, Joe, for the AFC Championship. What is it?
tepid in this game, to say the least, Donnie, because we know the whole Bo Nix injury obviously is still hanging over this game here. We did see some early Patriot money. I mean, early Patriot money when this thing first opened up, and I believe the Bears and the Rams were still in the first half. We saw 4.5. We saw it bet up to 5.5. That's kind of where it stayed yesterday. Then we saw a couple of spots, Donnie, get right back down to 4.5. So there seems to be right now kind of a line drawn in the sand at that 5.5 number. So really 4.5s and 5.5s are available. Now, I looked ahead, at least as best you can now, to the weather. And I mean, temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, sunny skies, not an issue. Certainly better than anything the Patriots had to deal with at home against Houston. And we mostly have seen the total settle right around that 40 and a half number. But this is the first time, Donnie, and I know you know this, that a team has been a home underdog in a conference championship since what year, Donnie? When was it last? Do you remember?
Give me a hint.
Nick Foles and the Eagles. Yep. They were a pup to the Vikings. And what did they do in that game, Donnie? Do you remember?
Smoke.
Yeah.
I was there. Smoke show, I think they call it, Joe. Yeah,
38-7 is what they did. Show. So, yeah, it's a no man's land number. You're never getting a key number in this game. It's going to be interesting to see. But the reality is 4.5, 5.5 is likely what we're going to be dealing with all week.
By the way, like as soon as this line came out, it's like there's no way Denver can win this game. Then you see the ticket count, Joe, maybe 25% of the tickets coming in on Denver in this game. And I start to say to myself, is Denver the right side in this one? There's a lot to go over, and Joe and I have this game up and the numbers up all week long. Updated temperatures for that game, Joe, around 36, 37 degrees. But the key, no precipitation and no winds in that game. Should be a pretty clean slate for New England and Denver here. Game number 2 we'll take a look at in the AFC-NFC Championship game Sunday. That's the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. This game, Joe, opened up 2.5. We still see 2.5s across the board in a total of 47.5. Key injury situations. Zach Charbonnet, he's down with an ACL. Offensive line issues possibly for Seattle. The Rams, after back-to-back road wins in the playoffs, looking to do it a third time here. The total sits 47.5 in Seattle. This one should be a banger, Joe. What's that spread line early week for you?
Well, we saw a ton of Seattle money, 1.5s in a lot of spots when this game opened up once the Rams and the Bears were finished. But then we saw as high as 3 yesterday, Donnie, in a lot of places. But now pretty much 2.5s across the board. And, you know, the big question is the Sam Darnold oblique injury, right? Because a lot of people, I believe the public is going to look at this, Donnie, and be like, they won 41-6. Like, oh, what injury? There's no injury here. Well, when, you know, Rashid Shaheed runs back the opening kickoff for a touchdown, the 49ers turn the ball over and they couldn't stop Seattle on the ground. Yeah, well, then, you know, there wasn't a whole lot for him to do, but I think he's going to have a lot more to do this week against the Rams, who are already 2-0 on the road. Doesn't shock me that it got to 3 and it settled back into 2.5. And Donnie, if we're being honest, I see a situation where you probably get more Rams money closer to the kickoff than you will Seattle money. Don't forget, Charbonnet actually done for the year with that injury in that game.
Yeah, ticket count here coming in early in the week, Joe. Roughly balanced, 53% on the Rams, 47% on the Seattle Seahawks. That'll change this week again when we start to see some of those injury reports come out. But a little bit of damaged goods here for Seattle. But also, Seattle's the home team, rested and ready, no travel. The Rams have done a lot of traveling over the past couple weeks here. Spurs and the Rockets in the NBA tonight, Joe. It's an 8 o'clock tip time. Spurs are on the road. Home team is the Rockets. The Battle of Texas tonight. This opening line overnight was around -3. Now I'm seeing -3.5s and -4s in the marketplace in a total that sits at 220.5, which is down overnight from that 224.5.
This is going to be again, future playoff game and a playoff series coming your way. Rockets at home, San Antonio looking to kind of continue their winning ways here against the Western Conference best. But the Rockets have not been great, Donnie, over the last month here. They can't shoot the 3 anymore. That's kind of been a big reason as to why they've been about a 500 team at best, but they are better at home at the Toyota Center than any place else. I actually saw a couple of spots had this at 4.5, 5 last night. I'm seeing 3.5s in a number of spots here, Donnie, now. So it does appear overnight money favoring the Spurs, but I believe the Rockets, as long as Wembanyama's playing, and if he's not, you may want to grab the Rockets at this price because you won't get it at this if he's announced out.
Joe, we got 3 10 o'clock games Eastern tonight. This one, the Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings out on the West Coast, 10 o'clock start here. -2.5 as the favorite for the Miami Heat. Also a total listed at 236.5. Heat Kings. Give me a spread line for that one.
Miami got crushed by Golden State and watched Jimmy Butler blow out his ACL for them last night. Now they take on a Sacramento team who has Domantas Sabonis back and has been playing some great basketball, even though they got absolutely crushed last game. And second of a back-to-back for the Heat. It's all about the scheduling in this one. We did see the Heat as a bigger favorite, but all the money overnight coming towards the Kings.
Now, you guys might be interested in saying, like, wait a second, Miami, Ohio at Kent State. This isn't action. This isn't football. Why even talking about this? Well, one of these teams, Joe, is unbeaten here. That's Miami, Ohio, taking on Kent State as the road team here. The line sits at -1.5 currently as a favorite towards Miami, Ohio at Kent State. And look at this total. That's glorious for college basketball. 169.5. What's that spread line tonight for Miami and Kent State?
Under the radar, Miami of Ohio has a chance to run the table and go undefeated. They are the best, or at least one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. They're hitting 42.3% of their threes this season as a team. Kent State, pretty darn good at home, and they bring some defense. So can they give Miami of Ohio their first loss? I don't think so.
From Miami to Miami, the national championship game. We'll cover it next.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Looked like for the first half yesterday in the national championship game between Indiana and Miami that maybe it was going to be a runaway Hoosiers. 10-0 at the break. Indiana got the football. Things weren't going Miami's way, and that changed quickly. Mark Fletcher struck like a lightning bolt on a 57-yard touchdown run, and we had a game. But you might be thinking to yourself, how did we even get Indiana and Miami lined up in this football game for the national championship, Joe? And this is where we want to go back to Curt Cignetti was a very good hire for Indiana, but not a lot of people knew who Curt Cignetti was. Here's him from signing day back in 23.
Hey, Kurt, Todd Goldman with CNHI Indiana. When it comes to that culture you were just talking about, meshing the recruits you're getting and some of the guys you kept, where does that process start? I mean,
what do you mean? I don't get the question.
Well, when you recruit them, how do you sell your vision of your culture? I mean,
who are you talking about? The high school guys, the transfers? Who?
All of the above. I mean, how do you? Is there?
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
This is so good for college football. And usually, Joe, it's the young 29, 31-year-old head coach that thinks he's the next, coming of Jesus. And now you take a look at a guy who's in his 60s basically telling you, I win. Maybe I'm not the brightest head coach right now, the brightest bulb, which is saying like you are a rock star, which he is now. But he laid down the law when he went to Indiana with the press, with his team, and on the football field.
Listen, Donnie, the guy is just the greatest thing to happen to college football since Nick Saban. I mean, he's a walking meme. The guy is, the clips are just endless. The facial expressions are over the top good. And listen, in an era of NIL and players chasing the bag, the fact that he's done it his way and now runs the table, goes 16-0, wins a national championship. I mean, it's one of the greatest rags to riches story we have ever seen in any college sport, for that matter. I mean, truly unbelievable how you go from a program that is the losingest college football program in the history of college football to national champion and back-to-back playoff appearances. And you know what? It's a copycat league, but coaching matters, Donnie, in football, doesn't it? And that guy played to win, not to just, not to not lose. He played to win, and he trusted his players to get it done, and that's exactly what they did.
And also, it's not one of those stepping stone programs here for Cignetti. He's basically told you, I'm not an NFL guy. And yes, like, you're kidding me. At the end of this season, I win a national championship. Like, I could have picked up the phone and called Florida and said, I want $30 million a year, and they would have gave it to you here. Now, he got a nice raise in Indiana, but he's comfortable here. You know what? I did it my way. I will be a legend in this state for the next 300 years if I just stay here 2 or 3 more years before I even retire, if I want to do that. And Joe is right about something. We're not talking about, let's just say the Pitt Panthers. Well, if they get a national champ, well, yeah, they were really good in the 70s and 80s, and maybe you recruit and you sort of take over Pennsylvania instead of Penn State at this point, or you take a look at other programs like, I led USC back because we used to win in the early 2000s, or even the Miami Hurricanes. These are places that you expect that once you get a good head coach, eventually get back to that mountaintop. The Indiana Hoosiers, as Joe points out, just the bottom of the barrel worst. The teams that we talk about, like Vanderbilt used to be in the SEC, starting to make a comeback now in the NIL era. Everybody used to pace them. That was your homecoming game. Indiana was your homecoming game, and now they're coming to ruin your homecoming, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they go from the hunter to the hunted now, Donnie. Yep. There is no more. You won't be sleeping on Indiana and Cignetti if you were to begin with here, because I think he's proven this wasn't just a flash in the pan. He's got a system. He's got coaches that have been with him for a while. That's the next wave, right? How many can he keep?
Yeah.
Because these guys now, what's going to happen. Blue blood programs are they're going to try to pluck the guys from him there, and then he's got to retool. So Saban had to go through it. Cignetti, he's going to have to go through it.
You know what's funny about that, too? You take a look, like Nick Saban basically said, I'm the best coach in college football. The way we used to do things where I just had to recruit you, and yeah, maybe my boosters would drop off a backpack here and there or a charger to get you to go to my school. But now it is pay to play. The thing that you love is, again, this isn't a 32-year-old head coach. Like, I came up in this new game. We're paying to play, and I'll sit in your living room and tell you how much money I'll pay you. Like, Cignetti in his 60s here, and he's the architect of, I'm going to take your good players here. We'll pay them some money in Indiana, but I'm going to coach them up so well that we're going to be an absolute machine on the field. Like you saw last night, take what they give you. Was Indiana spectacular? Did they have the greatest wide receivers, the fastest running back, or an unbelievable presence on defense? No, but they are the perfect team concept that we saw yesterday, Joe. I was so impressed all year long, just the way they operated and never got outside of their comfort zone.
No. And impressive all the way around.
Absolutely it is. And we're going to continue talking about this game and where we go from here with Indiana and Miami. Coming up next right here on The Early Line.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawhi Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Making big plays in the biggest moments of the biggest games. That's what Indiana did last night. Now, Miami countered every time Indiana did something. But as Joe pointed out when we talked before the show, you can't get blocked punts for a touchdown in a game. Like, it's a 7.5-point line, which means you can't have any margin for error if you're Miami. You get a block punt touchdown here, you're down double digits in the second half. They could have folded up, but they didn't. But you know what to give credit to? Trusting your quarterback, who's the Heisman Trophy winner, that's going to be the number 1 overall pick, possibly going to the Las Vegas Raiders. 4th and 5, and another 4th and 5. You put that football in that kid's hands, and he delivered twice. And how about late on that final drive where you weren't even really in field goal position? A 3rd and 7 jump ball down the sideline that was completed with a great throw and a great back shoulder catch that gave them another first down. Say what you want about Fernando Mendoza. Nice kid, but nice kids sometimes fail. This kid has the heart of a champion on the football field, and he proved that last night. And Cignetti, he was telling you, I trust this kid, Joe.
And listen, every decision that he made from a coaching perspective in that game, he was coaching to win. He was never playing it safe. He trusted his players. His players trusted him. You know, there were a number of different, situations in that game where, I mean, my goodness, Miami's going to play the what-if game all off season. What if Ruben Bain doesn't jump offside on a 3rd and 13 in the second quarter? Right? Well, they probably punt at that point, right? And they don't score that touchdown 7 plays later. What if the guy makes the block instead of actually letting them actually block the kick and score? So a lot of what ifs here. But the one thing we know for sure is that you take away that special teams situation and that touchdown, and you look at the stats offensively. I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves. It was Indiana owned the first half. Miami owned them the second half to a point where more so than any other team this postseason has done that to Indiana. They just made a couple of more plays and took the risks that they needed to take because they knew, Donnie, playing it safe against Miami in that second half was not going to win them a national championship.
Let's hear from the champions here. We'll start with a clip here from Curt Cignetti after last night's game.
Okay, hard-fought game. Give a lot of credit to Miami. It was a real gut check. We found a way. It's credit to our guys' resiliency to find a way to get that done. It's a great thing. Indiana winning the national championship 2 years into our tenure. You do it with people and a plan. Can't say enough about our senior leadership. and the people we have in the locker room and the people we have on our staff and our strength and conditioning staff, support staff, and the commitment we received from President Witt and Scott Dolson. I would like to say our NIL is nowhere near what people think it is. So you can throw that out. And team really overcame a lot on the road in a lot of tight games and found a way to get it done. And we're 16-0, and I guess we're 27-2 since Indiana, but we're 16-0.
16
national champions at Indiana University, which I know a lot of people thought was never possible. It probably is one of the greatest sports stories of all time, but it's all because of these guys and the staff. So proud of them, and it's a great night.
By the way, it is amazing what Indiana's done, Joe. And also I want to point this out. Like, this isn't like the back in the day. Hey, I hid behind an easy schedule, got to the championship game, the other team's quarterback was hurt, and we went away with a win. There's no cheapies anymore, Joe. Like, when you make it through March Madness, you got to win, 7, 8 games to get there? That is a tough grind no matter what your team is. Now that you have an expanded playoff, you are getting heavyweights every single week that you have to beat. And Indiana answered the bell every time, Joe.
No, they did. And again, that's why they're champions. This was the first real test that, they've had in a while. It's certainly, again, Alabama, that game was over in the first half. So was the Oregon game. But, this was a situation where they got punched in the mouth. And that was the whole plan for Miami. Punch them back and see what kind of reaction you got. And you put them into situations where, they had to roll the dice. They had to go for broke, Donnie, because had that game gone any further, they likely don't win it. So they had to make decisions to take chances that they had not had to do the previous couple of games in the playoffs.
Let's flip it over to Miami, because also, again, finishing the season with 13 wins here. It's been a long time since Miami's been back in that national championship picture with a legitimate chance to win, which they did last night. Had the football down 6 over the 50-yard line through that late interception for Carson Beck. Mario Cristobal came back and basically said, it's up to me to get this program back where it's supposed to be. And it looks like they are landing in that spot. Here's Mario Cristobal after the game talking about this one.
First and foremost, thanking God for the opportunity to be here today. And really, I would like to recognize these 3 young men and their teammates for they're the best thing that's happened to Miami and the University of Miami in over 2 decades. And it's not the result we wanted. Credit to Indiana. They're a great football team. But to these guys right here, I couldn't be more proud to be associated with them. I love them. They're absolutely incredible human beings, competitors, resilient. And I want to thank them and the rest of their teammates. And it's a tough one to have to eat, but we will. And that's it.
Just looking forward to the future and what Miami is now. Looks like they're going to get a pretty good quarterback stolen away from the Duke Blue Devils at this point, but that's the NIL era. But it looks like the foundation has been laid. And also, credit Mario Cristobal. Back-to-back losses in the regular season looked like they were out of it, rallied the troops. And if they would have beaten Indiana, Joe, seeing like the path that Miami took to get to this championship game, beating heavyweight after heavyweight, some in their own building, like Texas A&M. What a phenomenal run with a legitimate chance to win a championship on the final drive. Just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were a 10 seed. They were the final at-large team to make the college football playoff, and they fell a couple of plays short of a 16-0 team. So there's no shame in losing to Indiana, who was extremely well coached and had the Heisman Trophy winner as their quarterback. But, I mean, what Miami has done the last 2 years here and what Cristobal has done since getting here, I mean, people forget how awful this program was for the better part of 2 decades. I mean, Miami's 23-6 over the last 2 seasons. They haven't lost a game by more than a touchdown since 2023. And they didn't last night either. So this is a team that is absolutely back on track in the public spotlight and is a contender because you know why, Donnie? They're investing in football again at the University of Miami, and it shows, doesn't it?
Exactly. And the number 1 overall pick in the draft is probably going to be Fernando Mendoza. Great in front of the cameras. We got a clip from him last night that we can go to right now. Look at that. He's too kind at this point right now to put on the air at this point. But
it was
Mendoza will
very
be number one.
articulate and well thought out, though. Like everything else comes out of that kid's mouth. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
He does. He reads the scripts right down to the wire, man. Good kid. On to the NFL he goes, but also means, Joe, at the end of a season, it's never too early to look at what's going to take place next season in college football. And, oh, yeah, the Blue Bloods are going to be right back there, Joe. It's Ohio State. It's Notre Dame. It's Indiana. It's Texas. But you know what? You know what I don't see on that screen here? The University of Miami Hurricanes. Disrespected right off the bat once again, but it's fun. Like, football season is done in college football. And by the way, Joe, did you know next year the season's going to be an extra week longer because of when the actual games would be on January 1st? Which I also want to ask you this question, too. Is it time to just get rid of January 1st? We have to have playoff games on that day because it seems like it's really messing up the flow. And next year, basically playing almost into February in college football. That's wild.
It's they're going to keep tweaking this thing, Donnie, every year until there is some sort of consensus as to what is right and what is not right. But I promise you this. The minute they announced that Darian Menza is now signing with Miami, now leaving Duke, I can assure you that they will show up on that list of top favorites for next year.
Already, man. Missing football season in college football. Felt like we just began in week 0 talking about Hawaii playing, some random football team. And now we're actually at the end and only a few more games in the NFL. Just the way it is, man. Seasons change. We get excited for each one of those new seasons here. And up next, we're going to talk NBA action. Jimmy Butler. Golden State Warriors. We'll be right back.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawhi Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
What's going on in the NBA? We're going to tell you right now. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranieri. It's the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. You might think the Warriors with a 135-112 victory. Oh, that feels good. 25th win of the season to 19 losses, and away we go. A 20-plus point victory. But sometimes you win the battle and you lose the war. Jimmy Butler goes down with an ACL injury. He's out for the year, Joe. 35 years old. Don't know if he can make it back. And understand this. Wasn't it Jimmy Butler was a part-time player, averaging close to 30 minutes a game and 20 points per game. The old man in the sea Warriors just got a little bit more injured last night. Devastating blow to the Warriors season.
Yeah, and it's terrible. I mean, 36 years old, and he's been playing, Donnie, over the last month or so. He's been playing some of the best basketball we've seen him play in a long time because he was healthy, he was good, and it's no coincidence that he was healthy, playing his best basketball, and they have been rattling off wins and wins. Now 6 games over 500 after being absolutely in the dumpster there. They couldn't win anything early on. And now they lose Jimmy Butler, and now they've got a problem because Kuminga wants nothing to do with this team, and they're going to need Kuminga now. So maybe instead of trading him, they better figure out a way to say, I'm sorry, mend the fence, and get him on the court, because otherwise it's going to be a very long rest of the season for Steph Curry and company.
Yeah, it feels like a teardown is coming for the Golden State Warriors. And by the way, yesterday was MLK Day, big celebration across the NBA. A lot of teams didn't get the memo that these were big games on a Monday, particularly in the afternoon. How about the Thunder go on the road and absolutely hammer the Cleveland Cavaliers, Joe? 136-104 with Saul Chet Holmgren with a 28-8 performance. How about the fourth quarter? 45 points for the Thunder, 25 for the Cavaliers. Blowout style.
Well, they felt this was actually a pretty, somewhat decent game for a little while there until we got into the fourth quarter, and then the Thunder just blew it wide open there. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, 19 points is not going to get it done for when you're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, not when SGA is dropping 30 on you. So, yeah, it was unfortunate for Cleveland in one of those early starts yesterday. But, listen, at least you didn't have a 20-point lead and almost blow it like the Bucks did. But the Cavs have some issues this year, Donnie, in the East. Wide open. Even your Sixers could actually pull it down.
How about that? Can we get a little Jimmy Butler? You're assuming not Jimmy Butler. Paul George staying healthy the rest of the way. That's probably not going to happen. Joel Embiid's knee going to stay healthy. That's not going to happen here. But, hey, first-team all-star starter here, Tyrese Maxey for the Sixers. But let's head over to the Garden, Joe. And we just talked about a game that had a fourth quarter between the Thunder and the Cavaliers at 45-25. Absolute blowout. What if I would have told you there was a 44-25 quarter in the Garden yesterday? Yeah, the Knicks were at home on MLK Day. They absolutely smoked the Mavericks. Not the case. The Mavericks hit their 5th win on the road this year, 114-97. And here's Mike Brown talking about what the heck happened in the first half.
Bottom line is we gotta lock in. We gotta do our job for 48 minutes. They scored 75 points in the first half. And at halftime, we usually do the clips and talk about technical X's and O's and all that, crap that coaches do and teams do. There was nothing to be said at halftime except for lock in and do your job.
Smoked. Knicks smoked at the Garden, 114-97. Cooper Flag came back after missing a couple games with that ankle, dropped 18 points here. Towns did have 22 and 18, but come on, Knicks. 25 and 18 on the season. It's supposed to be better than that, no, Joe?
Oh, no. And that's why the boos were raining down big time in the Garden there. Listen, you're giving up 26 to Max Christie. And you met Cooper Flag, by the way, his first pro game at the Garden, and it turned out to be in a winning effort. But they were down in by 30 at one point in this game. It's their 4th straight loss. They've lost 9 of their last 11. Even they had Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart back in the lineup there, and they were at full strength, and they still got smoked. So, yeah, not going well for the Knicks right now.
Are they just asleep at the wheel, though, Joe? Like, the NBA Cup, they won the championship, and, in that. And, again, not that big of a deal. They, even Dolan said, we want to raise the real banner. The expectations coming in the season were that high, but I can't help myself, Joe. Like the NBA regular season, like hockey, they play hard every night. Same thing in Major League Baseball. The NFL, we don't have any of those issues. And I'm not necessarily saying that the players aren't professional, have to play hard every night. But doesn't it just feel like we don't care where our seeding is, just get us to the playoffs, and if we're healthy, we can just flip that switch? Doesn't it feel like the Knicks are doing that here? Because they're way too talented this year to have that record. They should be running away with almost like an OKC type of record because the rest of the East isn't very good.
Well, it cracks me up because wasn't this supposed to be a Thibs issue? Like, so we were so worried about, you couldn't wait to get rid of Thibs. and yet I'm looking at a team that is pretty much exactly the same, doing exactly the same things the Knicks did over the last couple of years here, where, you're out to a 23-8 start to the season. You win the NBA Cup. Everything is great. And now you're 25-18. You were 23-9 a month ago, and now you're 25-18. You don't think there's a problem? That's exactly what the Knicks were doing under Thibs, only they pointed the finger at him, and none of them looked in the mirror.
Exactly. See what happens here. By the way, the Pistons 31-10 on the season after picking up a victory yesterday to improve to 18-4 at home. A 104-103 victory over the Celtics. Joe, my best bet yesterday, -3 on the Pistons. They won the game. You're supposed to get the cover. They didn't. They won by 1. I lost, but the Pistons won. 31st win of the season. Good game last night, though.
And again, those are your two top teams in the East right there. So really, really good stuff. And by the way, Brown did have the potential game winner in the last shot there and missed it. So 104-103 win is huge for Detroit, who is now 3-1 against the Celtics this season.
Yeah, taking a look at the top of the conference here in the Eastern Conference, the Pistons 31-10, followed by the Celtics 26-16. Then close bunches here. 25 wins for the Knicks, 25 wins for the Raptors, 23 for the Sixers, and 23 for the Orlando Magic. Once again, as we talked about, Joe, Pistons look like they might be the best team in the East, but those Knicks flounder around. Again, they're still the 3rd seed right now. Just looking for them to turn it up. And also, 2-8 in their last 10 games in New York. Now that will get yourself fired in your first year as a coach, Joe. Come on.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, it's not good, but it's a long season. They still got some time to turn it around.
Let's talk about those Philadelphia 76ers and Mr. Maxey as an all-star starter. Coming up next right here on the Early Line.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawhi Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers. What a big win last night, Joe Ranieri. Who would ever thought they could beat the 10-win Pacers, who were 2-18 on the road? Well, they did. 113-104. Tyrese Maxey, 29 points, 8 assists, and 8 steals. He's been nothing short of phenomenal all season long. Sixers win by 9, pick up their 23rd win of the season, and maybe You see what's going on in the rest of the Eastern Conference and figure they might be able to get finally past the second round. Hint, I doubt that's going to happen. But Tyrese Maxey, as we said, having a great season. How about this, Joe? Starting in the All-Star game for the first time there. Look at that on the East. Tyrese Maxey, right in between Brunson and Cunningham, Jaylen Brown and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And he deserves it, Joe.
Absolutely, he deserves it. And listen, a shout out to the big man, too, who dropped 30 in that game with 9 boards for the Sixers. Joel Embiid slowly getting back to, form here, which is good for the Sixers moving forward here. But Maxey has been nothing short of absolutely amazing here from game one. And he's played a ton of minutes, Donnie. Him and Edgecombe, they didn't have a choice, right? Because, Oubre and other guys have been hurt most of the year. I mean, you're trying to get Paul George back in there. So he's kind of had to carry this team to this particular point, and it's a well-deserved start here in whatever, I don't know what rendition this is of the All-Star game or what he's going to be doing, but at least he's starting in it.
At least he is starting it at this point right now. He has been a bright spot for the Sixers for the past couple of years. But again, sometimes it just weighs on. Once you get to the playoffs, is Joel Embiid going to get a face fracture? His knee is going to swell up? Is he going to get sick one night? That's going to happen. Amazing. The Philadelphia 76ers haven't been past the second round with Joel Embiid. All that talent over the past decade. I don't know. Maybe they can do it this year here. Another team we're starting to focus on is the Bucks. Not necessarily for their on-play court side. 18-24 on the season after picking up a win against the Hawks, who dropped to 20-25 themselves. But they win that game by 2 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is also an all-star starter, 21 points, 17 rebounds, and 6 assists. The question is, when is that other shoe going to drop and they make a trade to keep Giannis happy? Or does it even matter? They're well under 500, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks are low-key tanking right now. I'm shocked. They almost blew a 23-point lead in the second half of this game. In fact, I'm shocked. I mean, Atlanta was awful in this game early, and then Milwaukee came out and said, listen, we'll get you back into this thing. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And ultimately, they were lucky enough to hold on. They still had a chance, the Hawks, to actually win that game late, but couldn't get it done. But my goodness, just awful. The bench is awful. It's not working with Doc and the Milwaukee Bucks, and it looks like they might be throwing in the towel sooner rather than later.
Which is kind of wild. Like, you're trying to appease Giannis, but again, like, didn't you try to appease Giannis with Kyle Kuzma? Oh, we want to trade him right away. We just signed Miles Turner and stole him away from the Pacers. Yeah, we don't like him either. We want to trade him right away. Like, if Giannis doesn't see this as a Band-Aid and just says, I'm not going to ask for a trade, I want out, well, his agents are probably going to ask for a trade. And also, where are they going, Joe? They're 18-24. And what trade can they make that's like, hey, now we're going to be the front runners in the Eastern Conference at this point? Just don't see it happening here, Joe. But if you look at the NBA championship odds for this season to win, OKC plus 105, Nuggets 7-1, Spurs 12-1, Pistons, Knicks, and the Celtics. If you look at those 6 teams right there, Joe, and once again, we'll throw out the Thunder. Who would you take as a run to the Thunder here that you think can get some good money return back on?
Well, they're all of those teams. I mean, the Nuggets, absolutely. The Spurs have already proven. I mean, listen, the Nuggets are treading water here, winning games without the Joker. He'll come back. He'll be healthy for a run. And they are, quietly, once again, a dude that's averaging a triple-double before he went down. Yeah, that's it's going to be a long run for the Thunder. If they're going to do it this year, Donnie, they are certainly going to earn it.
Yeah, you're right about that, too, because if you take a look at, like, the standings, and we just went over the Eastern Conference where, the Pistons have a couple 5.5-game lead over the Celtics, but everybody is bunched up. You take a look at the Western Conference, Oklahoma City, good team, the Spurs, good team, the Nuggets, good team, and almost factors in, Joe. If you want to make a run at OKC, what that trade line, which is coming up in about 2 weeks now, is going to provide. Do the Spurs make that big deal? Do the Nuggets make a big deal? How about the Minnesota Timberwolves here? Hang on. Then there's the Rockets. Seem like they're just laying in wait at 25-15, and the Lakers 25-16. I need to see this trade deadline to see what happens, because we just talked about Giannis Antetokounmpo wants help. I don't think that's going to happen. But if the Spurs pull off one of those trades where it's like Giannis goes to the Spurs, now we're talking, Joe.
Yeah, well, and listen, the way they're structured and how that, I mean, they are set for the future without a doubt. But it doesn't even have to be a name like Giannis. Like, you need depth this time of year, Donnie, to make a run, right? A lot of depth available at the trade market deadline.
Oh, we got depth here on the early line. Why? 2 hours shows. Yeah, hour number 2 is coming up next. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.